And good morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray, along with Odie, as we embark on Thursday, September the 28th.
Man, this week has flown by. This month has flown by.
It has.
I mean, wow. Friday's coming. It'll be here tomorrow, though.
Weekend around the corner. There's going to be a lot going on as we get ready for Rose Hill Cemetery. That is so much fun if you've never been.
It really is, and it's very, very educational on everything about Meridian, where we are now from where we came from, Highland Park.
The man with so many girlfriends that his wife wouldn't bury him. We'll find out about her. That's true.
Yeah, but
his wife would not put him in the ground because he was caught with.
But his girlfriends erected him a headstone.
They all pitched together and they all got along. Yeah. Imagine that.
Did you know Meridian had a horse racing track?
Nope. Where was that at?
Highland Park.
Really?
Yeah, the guy who owned it will be talking tonight.
Oh.
Donated the land.
You know, there's a house that sits up on top of the hill that if that ever fails to be a park, the land goes back to the house. In the deed there.
Huh?
It was given as a wedding gift, if I'm not mistaken, to somebody. It's a lot of history around this town.
It really is, and that's going to be talked about Saturday night.
So come on out. It is entertaining. The actors that practice this, you got to give them credit because they practice and some of them really become the character.
Oh yeah,
the sheriff is always good.
Yeah, he wears a mustache and a wig.
Really, that's half Meridian.
So when you see Ward, he'll have hair.
Is Ward going to be one of the characters tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
He plays one of his actual.
I thought that was just
relatives. No, that's one of the guys. His great grandfather, I believe.
Rubush built a bunch of stuff in Meridian.
Mm-hmm. Right. Architect for a lot of things, and he actually, and I'm sure it feels good. I played a mayor years ago.
You played a lot of things.
But he gets to portray an actual family member of his. And I think that would be kind of unique to be able to do. And he does it. Ward does an awesome job out there.
All right, let's get into what is going on in the area. And let me be frank of how I put this. If we put this on a scale of 1 to 10 of severity, we're going to put this as a 9 to the beginning of next week. I highly suggest not riding around enjoying yourself at night, not until things calm down. We're at a very, very critical point with crime that's going on right now. It's random. We don't know where to pinpoint it. Well, I do know some areas it would be great for the entire police department just to stop and have some hot dogs and hang out.
One on each one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cover both of them.
There we go. Let's start with our first incident that we had yesterday, everyone, as we had a home invasion. Now, is there probably more to this? Absolutely. As we pull this up, someone was grazed. It was first put out as shot in the head, but it was grazed. They're going to be okay. This happened on 44th Avenue as a home was broken into. And there was a little, now, when we get details when things first come out, that it possibly could have been an SUV. It ended up being a sedan. Gray-colored car, most likely silverish. And a Ford Fusion is what is thought, 2018 or newer. Fled the scene. It was 3 black males that jumped out, ran into a home, took a PlayStation, and shot at someone and grazed their head. They were rushed for medical equipment. Before long, what happened? We start hearing fights all over Meridian High School. It happened.
Yeah.
Now, I never actually received word from the school because they don't answer me. They just don't during emergencies. That does not happen in Lauderdale County. I want to point that out. No matter what is going on, I get a message from Lauderdale County that says we're on lockdown at this point for the safety of our children. I do not get that from Meridian High School. But without a doubt, it was on lockdown because fights. I have received, I'm not going to show them because it's youth. They're underage. But I have video after video after video of the fights that broke out at Meridian High School yesterday. Now, some say, and this is where speculation is, and I can't prove, that it ties back in with this, that whatever happened at that home spread to the school and fights broke out. Some even would say what went on after hours last night may have a tie into this. And we're referring to the G word that no one ever likes in the city limits of Meridian, which is gang, G-A-N-G. They are here.
Yep.
There's lots of them. You do something to one, it happens. You know, I've even been told that, I don't know much about gangs and what they do, but I'm told that if something goes on in New York, a phone call is placed to the next town, then the next town it goes, hey, this group did something to us here, y'all take care of them there.
Ooh.
It's a blanket. It's just like the thing that comes on TV. This is an emergency broadcast. They have their own little system of what they do.
Well organized.
It is very well organized. As we learn this, I think the man's going to be okay. Odie, let's move to the next situation that happened. We had another person that would be shot last night. Let's pull this up where you can see this. This would happen in the 4700 block of Hooper Street. Now, this shooting is a little bit different than the rest. I have heard anywhere from 50 to 100 shots rang out here.
Wow.
50 to 100. I had someone text me that said, I am on the floor of my home and all I can see is a sea of blue lights off in the distance. Can I get up? What do you know? At the end of this, someone would be shot. I think they're also going to be okay. I think they were hit in the leg and they were taken to the hospital for medical attention. That's too close. And let me show you this. Now, all of this has been riding this area. Here's Highway 19 going into College Park. All of this area is where this is going on. The home invasion was over in here yesterday. So same area. Well, it's not over. Just a few minutes later, we get word that another person has been shot in Meridian. This time, it's on the opposite side of the road. Now, this one is kind of embarrassing. And I'm going to try to be politically correct with it. Someone was shot in their car. Their car was shot up.
In the trunk. Huh.
And the next thing you know, someone was hit. Forrest Gump comes to mind. Do y'all remember when Forrest got hit?
And he got some ice cream.
Yes, same situation here. And he's not going to be able to sit down for a while. He's going to be okay, but he got hit in his car. And
in the trunk region.
Yeah, in the region there.
In his trunk.
This was in the 5300 block of First Street. 3 people in one day. One day were shot in Meridian.
Over senseless stuff.
Now, let's think back over the last week. Wait a minute. We had a woman shot at a store, shot 5 times. Have I heard from the chief of police make a statement? Have I heard the mayor step up and say, guess what, Meridian? We don't know a whole lot, but we're investigating it. I have not gotten that message that they've sent that out. Now, if we learn anything from history, no matter what is going on, no matter how bad it is, you step up the plate, you open the door and say, hey, folks, this is what we know and this is what we're working on. It calms people down. Okay, this went on. Wait a minute. We ain't through for the night. Let's run right on over and shoot a car.
Wow.
Yes, sirree. 20th Street here at the Split would happen right here. Here's the Texaco yesterday, where the gas station is, where you go down. You go toward the hospitals this direction. And I want to say the hospital.
East Mississippi's on the corner there. Yeah, 20th Street Extension.
Yep. Gunfire would break out and a car would be hit at least twice there. Now, no one was injured in that incident. Thank heavens. Well, we're not done yet. Let's go over 46th Avenue, where an apartment would be shot up last night. And again, this is back out here at Highway 19. There you go. Right there is where this happened. Here's 19, here's McDonald's, here's Taco Bell. You'd go due south of Taco Bell, and this is where it would be.
Right back behind the post office
Yep.
there off of 8th Street.
An apartment complex shot up. Now, no one, again, fortunately, was hit. But when you shoot at a building, when does those walls are not meant for this?
You know, that's where they have those townhouses out there.
Correct.
So there's a lot of children, and I wonder how many of these are kids. And I say kids,
Teenagers
and all that are doing this. But how many children live in these apartments?
Correct.
That you could take the life of a baby, a child, another teenager, an adult, anyway, you're taking a life.
Do you remember? We all know the 5-year-old that passed away here, a year and a half, 2 years old, was in his bed asleep. Somebody drives by and hits that child. Pretty soon, we're going to be contacting structural steel going, hey, I'm building a house. What would it cost to put a layer of steel throughout the...
All the way across
edge?
the front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to. Wait a minute, gunfire is not over for the night. Let's head on out just due south of North Hill Street, Odie, as we take a look here. This would be in the 4400 block of 40th Avenue last night. Gunshots, at least 2 were fired there. No one hit, no one injured, but it was gunfire nonetheless that happened there. Nope, you think, well, Scotty Ray, hush. No, I can't, because it's not over. Let's go to Chandler Street, Sawashi Creek Apartments. We would also find that gunshots rang out. This was somewhere around 10 o'clock last night is when this happened. Again, here's Chandler Street, if that updates. I don't know why it's doing that. Here's Chandler Street. Here's Sawashi Creek Apartments. No one was hurt. No one was injured, but they could have been. People live here. We can't do this. Gunfire, gunfire. Wait a minute. Let's go to 8th Avenue. Now, this is all in one day, and I hate to sound like a broken record. 8th Avenue and 18th Street. That's where we are. Here's Highway 39 as we get another update. This is going to be your Dairy Queen area here. Due west of Dairy Queen, back in here is where all of this happened. Here's Wesley House, this was a guy walking down the street. He's wearing a black hoodie, minding his own business on a hot summer day, wearing a hoodie. Okay.
Ding, ding, ding.
Here comes a car. He takes off a running. They were last seen passing Wesley House. He was not struck. He's quite an athlete. It takes
Somebody
talent.
shoot at me, I can run too.
Yeah, I can't even run, and I'd probably pep up my step.
You know, here we come on every morning and give you some updates and some news right from the start. And there's been a gunshot here and a gunshot there. I'm looking over here at the clock.
What do you see?
For 10 minutes, we've been talking about gunfire, 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 gunfire. Do y'all see a problem in our city and our county? We have a issue.
And I didn't spend a lot of time
Talking
with
about
that. And that was just going through it. I could have spent a lot more time telling the extreme details that I know about what happened. It's bad.
It is,
Now,
and we've got to do something about this, because the longer we let this go, the worse it's going to get, just like it is now. A year ago, we had a few shots. 6 months ago, we had a few more. What are we going to be talking about in a year from now? If this is what we had to last night, what's this going to be in a year?
Now, we're at the end of the month. Bad guys have run out of money. This is what it's all about here. They need money. In between now and the 3rd is going to be the worst of the crime that we get. It's statistically every month this happens. Y'all be prepared for this. And again, I rate this according to what's happened in the last 24 to 32 hours. If you were going to rate this on a scale of 1 to 10, what's going on in Meridian, we're sitting at a 9 over the weekend.
Teetering on a
Cautious.
10.
Be careful what you do, where you go, and how you do it. Be aware of everything around you. Now,
These people don't want a job. They're not going to get a job.
well, why would you?
Why would you? You can sit on your porch and smoke your dope.
That goes on.
And not worry about
What time do you get up?
somebody tell me I get
If
up
I become a bad
at
guy.
5 o'clock.
Late in the afternoon. We'll leave you room all night then.
I get up 5 o'clock in the morning.
No.
Oh, you talking about them?
Yeah, if you're a criminal, you can wait. You can sleep till 5.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier that way. That gives you that energy to make it all night. Well, the rest of the working world is up at 2 a.m. going, I got bills.
Yeah.
I was somewhere this past week, and this was probably some of the best advice I ever had. The guy was standing there, he said, what is your advice of your business? And he looked at him, he goes, bills. He goes, it gives me the inspiration to get up every day and figure out how to pay my employees. He goes, I owe everybody. And he goes, I got to make it happen one way or the other. Y'all hang tight. We got special guests all up in the studio this morning. I'm putting out a request. If you live in West Lauderdale and you know how to cook chicken, please bring some, because I was out at Clarkdale and I got hungry. And I don't want to be hungry tonight, so y'all bring some fried chicken on out to West Lauderdale because we might need to pass it around a little bit.
Or pecan pie. We'll take.
Well, I can do that too. We can jump right to dessert. We'll be right back with the Superintendent of Education. We're just gonna call him John Mark. How about that?
That's it. We're gonna tell him. We're gonna call him Tough Man. He's been in the Tough Man contest for a month.
We'll be right back as we start this day.
If every time the wind blows you get a little leery about a tree over your house, talk to my friends at Reed Tree Service. There's no reason to be worried about a tree crashing through your house. Mike Reed has years of experience dealing with trees. It can be as simple as having a limb removed or a tree that is just huge too close to your shop or house. It's not going to cost you anything to have Mike come out and give you an estimate. They're licensed and insured, taking care of East Mississippi and West Alabama. Reed Tree Service. Have tree, will travel.
Your local farmer knows a good deal when he sees one. The L-Series Kubota tractor is the #1 selling compact tractor in the USA and offered at Parish Kubota with 0% financing available. Come see why we're more than a tractor store at Parish Tractor.
Health Now is your locally owned medical equipment store. Every person's need is a little different, and they offer a little bit of everything from hospital beds, wheelchairs, reclining back wheelchairs, breathing treatments, CPAPs and supplies. They even have walkers, bath products, and oxygen. And the great thing about Health Now is they offer same-day service. They're open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and on call 24/7. Health Now Medical Equipment, where we treat our patients like family.
We're back and welcome. Scotty Ray and Odie, as we've got a lot of folks tuned in this morning getting ready. Tonight, of course, as we get ready for, is it next Tuesday, the election will take place in Lauderdale County. It's your decision as we get ready for the CTE building. Will they get an extra $12.5 million or have to work with what they got? It's your decision as a Lauderdale County. And we're going to cut to them. And we, again, let me say this. I warned them before we went live because we were all talking and didn't look at cameras. We may have to adjust the superintendent to fit him in the screen. I ain't saying he's a big old boy. I'm just saying we didn't look. All right, let's take a sneak peek. Let's try on that. Oh, yep, you got to move over.
To the
Yeah,
left,
way on.
Look at there. Slide right on in.
There you are. Look at there. I knew we'd have to do something like that.
Yeah, we run our mouth.
Well, you still need to come a little bit further. We need to see the rest of your whiskers.
Try not to get too close to Rob.
I don't blame you a bit there. And welcome.
Oh, man.
Go
Now,
ahead. Thank you.
Tonight is going to wrap up a series where you've gone to each one of the Lauderdale County schools and let the parents come out and ask questions.
Yes.
We'll do that tonight. Is there a time? Let me ask you, is there a time limit that you're putting on anybody, or do you just let them talk?
Yeah, we try to just say we're going to let you answer all your questions, and once we see we've ran out, that's kind of where we call it.
And I jokingly talked about that last week, but boy, let me tell you something. Clarkdale has some questions, and if there had been a Church's Chicken across the street, it would have been jam-packed. Because that's all I kept hearing was, man, I sure am hungry. I skipped supper before I come.
Well, we didn't make Southeast. EMEPA put on a big feeding for the first responders, so I chose to go to the feeding during Southeast. So we missed that one, and we went to Northeast and wasn't able to film live there.
But we'll be live again tonight for everybody to get that cannot make it, because we understand you cannot always make it to every function that goes on. The kids do this and that, so we'll carry it live so everybody can watch tonight.
Yeah, it was, but it was good, and Dr. Cain, my hat's off to you, and Rob too. Y'all took some direct hits with some hard questions, and you sat there and answered as much as you could, and I just kudos for doing that, not cutting people off. We were there for 3 hours, but the information that the parents wanted was brought to the attention, and just kudos for allowing that to go on.
Let me show this picture, and then we're going to ask your question of this. I think you sent this out yesterday. This is a letter that was sent out.
Yep.
This was one of the questions that was brought up during the last meeting.
Correct.
if I keep my child home during the election, will it count against them? And I'll let you explain what you did here.
Yeah, so we did. We had that one of the attendees at Clarkdale brought this up about, what could there be an excuse day for their child, if they wanted to keep their child home. And, we left there and went back and said, ultimately, the parents have a decision each and every day whether or not they send their child to school. And in this particular day, if there was concerns, we basically said, what we do is we give 5 parent excuses per semester. And with this situation, we just said, look, we'll give you an extra one. You could use it if you feel like that's the best course you want to take for your child and your family. And that way we're not blocking and locking everybody into a situation to where you're not having school, because a lot of people don't have the financial means necessarily to go out and get child care for their children or whatever the case may be. No, I'd rather have my kids at school that day. And so this gives the green light for parents to exercise that option.
Does this interfere with any testing or anything like that, or?
Well, we gave a notice yesterday to our schools and our teachers and our staff. That gives them an ability to move a thing or two around. We have to monitor and adjust in the school business all the time. So no major test or state test or anything like that. But maybe just some classroom instruction that teachers can work with us and understand that what's happening, and they'll handle it accordingly.
This is going to shock all of y'all.
Well, go ahead with it.
But from 5th grade to the day I graduated, of course, that was a long time ago, unless it was a school function, I never missed a day of school.
Yeah, well, you want me to answer that? I did that too. You want to know why? I think you know.
I wasn't going to take that test.
That's right. I didn't miss a day of school ever. I was dragging myself sick because you didn't have to take a test. You did too?
Mm-hmm. Plus, my mama wouldn't. I wanted to sit when I got to school.
Sit when you got back home too.
And sit when I got back home.
Do we still offer that in schools? If you don't miss a day, you don't have to take your exams.
Well, but there are some exemption policies that we've got. There's some of it's tied to grades, and some of it's tied.
So you've done away with the perfect attendance thing.
Well, I tell you what happened. Just briefly, when we went through COVID, there was this this discussion because we were encouraging students who felt sick, had symptoms at the time early on, especially not understanding what we were dealing with. There was a lot of concern about we didn't want students and families feeling compelled to come sick and then maybe perhaps spreading sickness at the time. So we really kind of had to reevaluate that, and we're kind of easing back into what we were pre, but there's still some hangover on some of the perfect attendance policies.
And I guess that would throw a wrench into a deal, but I wasn't going to miss.
No, sir, Bob. We get into this tonight, and I know you've been asked some of these questions over and over and over, but with anything, you have to recap every time because not everybody's listening at the same time. One of the big questions that, and I think I may have asked you this last time you were here, it is projected somewhere between $30,000 to $60,000 for the election to be held on October the 3rd instead of having it coming up in November.
Right.
The school board's reason for not doing that and saving, because that was a big argument the other night, whether it's $30,000 or if it's $60,000, why not save that at all cost? And the answer from the school board is?
The election was chosen because there was a lot of different factors involved. One was trying to meet a construction date of January 2025. Speaking with the architect, having the project bid out as soon as we could in 2023 allowed us to get to that 2025 soft opening date. There's one factor. Two was, in speaking with the bond attorney, there was a different set of bond and bond rates depending on the amount of money sold and what threshold sold. So as long as you could sell $10 million worth of bonds in the calendar year, or less, you qualify for what they call a bank qualified loan, which is a lower interest rate bond sale. So the notion was, if you can do, let's just say $6.5 million prior to the end of 2023, and then $6 million in 2024, both of those would be below the $10 million threshold, which would then both be qualified for lower interest loans. So then you say, okay, so now we got a lower interest loan. We know that there's an election cost, so then you compare the two. All right, what is the savings on the interest versus the cost of the election? The estimates I've heard on the cost of the election as of just the last couple of days was $40,000. The most conservative estimate that we could get on the savings from the bond interest rate is $200,000. So, and that's the conservative estimate. So we're looking, okay, we got $200,000, and then, and quite honestly, we were thinking the election may have been closer to $20,000 in the beginning. We still don't have that official number.
In writing.
Right, yeah, that's correct. So, but so then it was like, all right, we've got our construction date we're trying to meet. We've got a savings interest-wise we're trying to meet. So we had to make a decision. And so using the information that we had, that helped guide the decision. We need to move forward this time, because also not just the savings of the bond, but the timing of the bonds. In order to, if you could, because we won't move forward with the project until we know we've secured the monies. So that was another part of it.
And construction would begin. How if this passes, how fast would shovels start rolling?
We told pretty quick because they've got the plan laid out completely. I mean, that's what makes this a little different, is that he's got it all drawn out, laid out. He knows exactly what, this is the same architect that worked with some local contractors who did the construction over in Newton County on their CTE facility. So he kind of knows a little lay of the land and what's here and what's available. So once things go out for bid, I think you're looking at about 60 days.
60 days. All right. Did I understand, and maybe I misunderstood, maybe you said, if this fails, if this is, they vote no,
right,
this still moves forward regardless in some shape, form, or fashion, correct?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment, because, we still got about $6.5 million from the state appropriation. But when you're looking at construction cost of $12 million, then that kind of puts it in, perspective. So what you would have to do is go back through, see which programs that you would look to bring in, and then what your timeline is. So I think it would be a reduced model, and I think it would be a delayed model.
All right. And the next thing that I hear, and I just have to shoot from the hip with what I have been pounded on and sent in on all this, is a lot of people go, no matter what happens here, this is up until high school, the day that child graduates. The person, a lot of times that takes these courses aren't going to further that education no matter what you do. At 18, they're ready to go hit the world. Would it help to trim some of these classes and better shape it to the person that when they graduate at 18, that they would hit the street knowing more, as in air conditioning, electricity, welding, carpentry work, instead of going on the airplane side to where no matter what, you've got to go get a big degree to get this.
Yeah, I think the unique thing about this is we've got multiple exit points. So it's not the traditional, hey, you got to keep going to do this, or you got to keep doing this, because the skills that they acquire here is the same skills that the HVAC companies are saying we need people to be able to do. So they're going to get hands-on experience before they leave. And if that's their decision to go right into the workforce there, if that employer needs them that bad enough and they offer them X money to come on board, then that's a decision they'll have to make. But if they want to go on and get additional certifications and things like that, they'll have that option too. So we look at it as a way as providing potential immediate workforce demand, and we also look at it as a way of a pathway for these students to continue to work toward, if they want to obtain more credentials and more training, to maybe even come in the workforce at a higher level or with more credentials.
Y'all hang on. We'll be right back with John Mark as we got more questions. It's going to happen. We got more. We ain't backing off. He's prepared. He's got coffee over there.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
He might need some more.
Our local headlines are brought to you by the Rock House Gun and Pawn.
Philadelphia Gun and Pawn, located at 910 Posey Avenue, has tons of lawnmowers to choose from. A big selection of zero-turn lawnmowers, power washers, and even barbecue grills. Step inside the elite line of Liberty safes along with those Browning safes. A large selection of Louis Vuitton purses along with satin shirts and bead sets. And tons to choose from for the outdoorsman in your household. And always a great deal on any type of jewelry you're looking for. And a private lobby for pawns for your confidentiality. Philadelphia Gun and Pawn. Are you looking for a job that could last a lifetime? Structural Steel is hiring now. With employees that have been there from 20 to 40 years, they're family owned and operated since 1975. Competitive starting wages, a 401k package, and great insurance. Immediate openings on the day shift and night shift. From entry-level helpers, welding and tacking, grinding and fitting. And the list goes on of job openings. Start your future today at Structural Steel. Call 483-5381.
Meridian's favorite barbecue is Squealer's Barbecue, named the barbecue capital for the state of Mississippi. Whether it's barbecue, wings, or burgers, Squealer's simply has the best for a family environment. Every Thursday night, there's live music out on the porch. Takeout orders are welcome, and whether it's your next tailgate or large catering event, your friends at Squealer's are there to help. Drop in for lunch today or a night out on the town. Squealer's Barbecue, the best in fine barbecue.
Vote no on October the 3rd. The Lauderdale County School Board wants to raise your taxes. The board is asking for an additional $12.5 million for the Career and Technical Education Project, bringing the total cost to $20.5 million. Which means higher taxes for you to pay. The election alone will cost taxpayers $40,000 to $50,000. Send the school board a message. Vote no on raising your taxes by voting no for the $12.5 million for the Career and Technical Project, paid for by taxpayers for reduced Lauderdale County school spending. Are you ready for summer? Massey has a 2021 Jeep Wrangler that's waiting on you with only 61,000 miles. How about a Rogue with 57,000 miles? A 23 Camry with only 50 miles on it. Or maybe it's a Toyota Tacoma four-wheel drive that you're needing. From Silverados to F-250s, Massey Supermart Auto Sales, 1023 Highway 39 North.
Profit dealer, Massey Supermart.
Welcome back. As we take a little trip, we need to take another headline that is popping up here in the local area. As we go to Newton County, there has been an arrest, and I want to remind you, when an arrest is made, you are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. There is accusations, and this man, when he comes after you, he comes with full force. Shad White is the name. A little guy that's over there in Jackson, Mississippi, who's got a calculator, who uses it in his sleep.
Yeah, he does.
This time he goes to Newton County. As we do this, as a dispatcher has been arrested. And you go, why would a dispatcher be arrested? Well, it would be shamming. Is the word shamming? Changing time? Yep. Actually works for the emergency management side, the 911 side, as we see that we have an arrest made here. This is going to be Shannon Taylor, was arrested. Demand letter has been set up. She faces 10 years in jail, and a demand letter of $16,263.72 has been sent out. That's the mugshot from that. And
There ain't
what went
enough
on.
money for me.
No, sir.
Oh, man.
I mean, 10 years in jail is a long time. And if you're sitting there thinking, boy, I could get away with this, think about that, 10 years. It ain't worth it.
No. Is you not getting another job?
No, sir, not in a capacity of that. That goes on your record, and, well, there
You
was...
owe back $16,000. You stole it, allegedly. You took $16,000. You owe $16,000. You got 10 years in jail. You've got a record. You're not getting a job. And you still ain't got no cash.
True.
You in a bad spot. What do they call that? Between a rock and a hard place?
And, and there's also that case I've seen employees go, well, you had a little problem in your past there. You only took $2 million from them. I'm going to trust you. I happen to know companies that done that, and then, whoop, they took $3 million from you, and you thought, wow, why did they do that?
Yeah.
It's just not best. It's red flags is what this is. Of if someone has been prosecuted and proven guilty of this, probably not a great place in the accounting department for them to be.
No, not at all. It's tough.
Now, also as we look at this, I wanted to mention this. We send prayers to Kemper County as we see that when you see one of these landing in the middle of the road or on the side of the road is never good. As we had a wreck yesterday afternoon near Kellis Store Road in Kemper County.
Yeah.
When a helicopter lands, it's not good. We do send out hopes, prayers that everything's going to be okay. They were transported by helicopter. When the helicopter lands, it's serious. We would also, last night, right outside of DeKalb, as you're coming down from DeKalb, where Eastside Grocery used to be, where the wood yard is, a motorcycle had an incident with a deer last night. We don't know condition, but anytime that a motorcycle connects with a deer, it's not good. We also had a wreck similar to that in Winston County. And I bring that up. It's probably time to park the motorcycle for the year.
That's right.
Deer are out, and it's not worth your life. You remember that in Meridian not long ago, a year or so ago?
Yeah.
It killed a man.
And that's a dog is bad, but a deer, you see what they do to a vehicle.
Yes.
What they'll do to a motorcycle is bad. We don't want anybody to have to suffer that.
Donna Jill was up late yesterday afternoon, and she was in there going, how's this fax machine work? Scotty Ray, how did I get this to you? Well, she finally got it to us here. She hit a button, here it comes. Let me show you all this. This is from the office of Donna Jill as we look at this of where to go vote, who is going to do this. If you vote in Bailey, Center Hill, Collinsville, Martin, or Cicalina, you will go to the West Lauderdale Elementary School to vote next Tuesday. As you go to the next one, Southeast Middle School. If you're from, is that 17?
17.
I ain't never heard of that little community. Was it 17 people there? What was it?
Be.
That's new to me. Causeyville, Odom, Vimville, Wyandotte, and Mount Gilead will go to Southeast Middle to vote. Northeast, the landing on, that's the, I'm with you now. I was thinking, yeah. Okay. Had a blonde moment.
Yeah.
The landing on 39, if you vote there, New Lauderdale, Daleville, East Lauderdale, Marion, Kewanee, Russell, or Toom-Suba, you go to Northeast Middle School, and then Clarkdale closing out. Pickard, Clarkdale, Meehan, South, Nellyburg, and Zero all go to the Clarkdale to vote there. So,
So there's where you go and make your voice heard. But Dr. Cain, some of the things that we're asked a lot if we would pass on these questions to you.
Sure.
One of them is, so we've got the old PV building, or y'all got the PV building. How much did y'all pay for that building, and where did that money come from?
Purchase price of that building was right at $1 million. I think it's $999, something right in that area, $1 million. We were able to use the funds on hand that we had because we had those monies on hand prior to receiving the appropriation. And so then the appropriation would go back to pay for the cover the initial cost. Okay. So,
and then on top
I got you.
a couple more. These we've gotten. Scotty Ray's gotten a couple of calls. I've gotten 3 or 4 calls. One thing we do not want is a bunch of rumors to be going out there, and we know that we've already had a lot of rumors that's been pushed out that you're having to deal with an awful lot. And then this question had come up, we know, the other night at Clarkdale. But what we have been receiving information about was the election commission had reached out to you and asked you to shut the schools down on October 3rd. No parents, no teachers, no kids, to allow that strictly for voting on that one day. Did they reach out for you to shut the schools down on October 3rd?
I'll be honest with you, I don't remember having a conversation with the election commission with that request. I don't.
Okay.
And the next one is, I don't know how, this would be kind of weird.
What's that?
Is there any truth to combining West Lauderdale and Northeast and Clarkdale and Southeast and going from 4 schools into the county down to 2 major schools?
Wow. You really trying to get me hurt when I walk out here.
Should have waited till tomorrow night, after tomorrow night to bring that one up.
No, I think, look, we're going to look at a long-term facility management plan this coming year. And, that's going to take a lot of input, and you're going to have to look at a lot of factors. I think our community schools are extremely important to our communities. They're tied to those communities. They are the life and blood of our communities. I think what we will have to do as a county is, as we move forward and we look at our 50, 60, 70-year-old buildings.
And they're old.
Yeah. The people of Lauderdale County will have to help make a decision about what the future schools would be, or what would they look like, and then you look at the cost of construction today, and then you say, well, we want the best for our kids. Everybody does. They deserve the best that you can give them. Okay, but when you are in the situation that we are in, that limits what the best can be. And so I think moving along, as we look at that long-term strategic plan, capital improvement plan, we will have some tough decisions to make as far as what that will look like. And then obviously the biggest thing is we don't always get to make that decision ourselves either, as economics from the state level also plays a huge part in, what we do moving forward.
I'm sure that was something when they had to deal with Collinsville School, Sugalena School, Bailey School, and then saying, okay, we're going to shut down all your little schools and we're going to make a big one. Yeah. And I'm sure that plays
They still
a part.
ain't happy about that. What are you talking about?
They're real happy. But I have, on the emergency management side, I have one request.
Sure.
When we build schools. Can we build a basement in these schools to serve as a storm shelter so we can stop sending, and I know that's state regulated.
Yeah.
Because I've had my arguments with the state. So we don't send kids home in the middle of the day for a storm.
I think it would be fabulous. We looked at some of the igloo styles that they did up around Monroe County after those storms, and were you able to use some of those FEMA monies to construct those? Those are almost the block buildings. They did a gymnasium out of it up there too, and anything like that you could basically reassure parents in a storm, hey, they're in a safe place here, probably safer than home if we leave them here.
Yeah.
I think if we could all get to that would be a fantastic idea to move forward.
To let everybody know, that's not on. That was not a dig on our local, on you, because I know that's regulated through the state.
Right.
But I remember, and I think everybody in this room that is here with us in the studio audience and y'all remember drill time. Let's go to the hall.
Yeah.
Take your books and put your head down.
Yeah.
Is that still
do it?
Still do that?
Yeah. Still
we
have.
learned how to kiss our own butt by.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I think it's a rite of passage. It's a rite of passage in elementary, right? Go to the hall, turn,
All right. Here's another one of those tough questions that over and over I've been asked. Why not leave this at our regular voting polls instead of cutting it back to the schools? The average Joe out there says when you do this, it causes confusion. People are not going to remember to go to the school. They're unsure.
Right.
And it puts the favor toward the school system getting something passed.
Sure.
Is that the reason? And I don't mean that ugly.
I know. It's a fair question. I appreciate you asking it. So once the decision was made that, okay, we're going to have a special election. We're going to have a special election because we're choosing to try to meet this architectural date of getting things outbid and ordered. And we know we're going to be early now on an election. We know that we're going to try to save interest on the bonds with the special election. Okay, so then how does the special election look? Well, then, like you say, you got to decide what is it going to look like. Where is it going to be? Then it goes back to the cost analysis. If we have a special election and Odie probably knows better than me, 24 polling sites, or I don't know how many we have.
37 total.
37, 24. I know some are city, some county, but I'm not sure. Then you end up having an additional cost of paying the poll workers at each location that you had to have, and so then it was just like, okay, that's not going to be an option out of cost at that point. So how do you put something in each sector that represents the school sector that those individuals send their kids or their grandkids to, we felt the school was the best place to do it, and that's just pathway we chose. So once we decided it was a special election, we had to figure out a cost analysis and the best way to do it, and then we just felt like the school was the most known commodity.
All right, we'll be right back as we continue your questions with the superintendent. We're going to let him get a sip of coffee there, and he's coming back for more in just a moment. Patrick Allen Companies has a wide selection of garage doors that will fit your style, add value to your home, and add curb appeal to your neighborhood. Patrick Allen also has top-of-the-line, energy-efficient replacement windows that will make your home look great while saving you money. We're family-owned and operated, and we take pride in our work. 5305 Highway 145 South in Meridian.
For all your garage doors and replacement windows,
call Patrick Allen Companies. Safety, service, satisfaction.
J&J Tire and Muffler, located at 3420 8th Street, invites you by. And if you need a front-end alignment, make sure to try their new state-of-the-art alignment machine. No matter the size of your truck and car, J&J can align it. J&J also has touch-free mounting, laser wheel balancing, and as always, they provide preventive maintenance, including CV axles, shocks, struts, brakes, with the largest selection of new and used tires, along with exhaust systems. Locally owned and operated since 1978 in Meridian. And welcome back as we begin this day. Don't forget, if it's time to have something done to your car, Chet's Paint and Body. Chet, you know as well as how long Chet's been doing this in the curve.
Yeah. Well, he's not been just doing it in the curve. He was doing this in high school. He did this through Ross Collins.
Yeah.
He's done this for his entire life, and he's good at what he does. And he doesn't sit and let the insurance dictate to him how he's going to fix something. He tells them how we're going to fix it, and we're going to do it right. We're going to use the correct parts for the OEM, and he's going to take good care of you. All you got to do is take your car by there. He does everything else. He works with the insurance, and when you get your car back, it is showroom ready, better than what it was when you got it off the lot.
Drop in today. It's in the curve. You can't miss them there. The old cotton gin. It's probably not that many people even remember that now. That is gone, the thing of the past.
Yep.
Now it's Chet's Paint and Body. Drop in and visit with them in the Center Hill community. You'll be glad you did on the way to West Lauderdale Elementary.
Talk about
what are we talking about?
Where we're voting. One thing is somebody asked earlier, why does the city not get to vote in this because their taxes will go up? That's not correct in a sense. So overall,
what do you mean in a sense?
Well, you've got only county residents are going to vote in this. With the exception, if you live in a separate school district, you will not be able to vote for this. But over towards Northeast in the Eagle Point community, which is city, those residents do get to vote.
And they're not real happy about that, the last I heard.
So other than that area, the rest of the city residents do not get to vote because your taxes are not going to be affected in this whatsoever. But if you do get to, if your tax bill is going to go up or down or stay the same, you're going to have the ability to vote. This is only going to affect county residents that live outside the separate school district or the city residents inside I just said it.
City of Meridian.
City of Meridian at Eagle Point.
Listen at him.
Yeah.
He's paying attention.
You've got on there what your voting card looks like. That's going to tell you if you can vote or not, and you can look on it. That's it right there.
Let's pull this up there. There you go.
So that top one, where it says all the way over to the right, where it says SCHD, below it is SEP for separate. That means you live in the separate school district, and you do not get to vote. The bottom one, where it says SCHD, will give you 1, 2, 3. That's going to be what area you live in. If you have a number there, you do get to vote. So look at your card, and it will show you on there under school if you can vote or not.
Interesting there.
City voters do pay city and county taxes, but they're valued a little different in certain areas. So this is not going to be across the board. You are 100% correct that the city people pays county taxes because you live inside Lauderdale County. The city of Meridian is inside Lauderdale County. But you're not affected by the school. You don't go to Lauderdale County School.
Rob, I think so. It straightens out a little bit there. Rob, you've been kind of quiet this entire interview over there.
I was beginning to think I was
still-
just a pretty face.
Are you still breathing over there?
Yes, I am. I'm here.
The school, how many courses, let me ask this, how many courses right at this very moment are lined up out there? Is it 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? How many do we have?
Actually, 11.
Wow.
That are lined up. And that is a combination of programs that we already have that we're going to move to the center, as well as a couple of cutting-edge programs that the data says that our local area needs, as well as, conversations with industry, things
Now,
of that nature.
Back to that question I said a while ago, should this go south for y'all and the vote be no? Would we drop from 11 to, have you in your mind already go, okay, we'll scale this back? Is there a number of how many classes would be offered if it goes no?
Well, naturally, we would start with the programs that we already have. We would move those, and the reason we would need this centralized location is because we have some duplicated programs across the district. For example, a law and public safety class in 2 places that 2 other schools do not have access to. So as we move forward, we want to make sure that all students have all access to these particular programs. So we would start by moving some of those duplicated programs, doing our best to maybe combine teacher units to put in as many other programs as we have. But, of course, there will be equipment costs. There will be various other costs that will delay and slow the process of us moving other programs in.
There was a couple of people have asked, well, the center's going to be available for the city, and that doesn't seem fair. And then somebody asked, is it going to be available? And I know you've asked this at each one of them, and I know you'll cover this again tonight. But for the ones who haven't heard yet, go over, this is going to Ross Collins costing the county now, and then this is going to kind of be a wash. Go over how that's going to be used with county residents, city residents, and then also private schools.
So it's important to remember that this is an expansion of career technical education in our area. Ross Collins has been great serving our county students for many years. We're paying for slots there, dedicated to county students. We currently have a little over 60 students that are going to Ross Collins, enjoying the programs, doing great. But we have to turn down. We have a lot more students that do want to take those programs. And Ross Collins does give priority to Meridian High School students. It's just only fair that they do so on that campus. But we're also blessed that they're able to give us slots and that we actually pay for. So when this new center comes on board, we're going to have more programs that Ross Collins does not have that will be available just in the exact same model that Meridian is doing with Ross Collins now. We will be doing the same thing, giving our students priority to our programs in our center, but also at the same time sharing slots with Meridian so that potentially we wouldn't have to pay for those slots. We would just trade those slots back and forth as slots are available in the programs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you're having, the county's paying for what they use at the city schools. The city would have to pay for what they use at the county schools. But if you can say, hey, you give me 10 slots, I give you 10 slots, we're to wash. So
that's right.
I think that's a good way to put that.
All right, and as we go to questions coming in, Michael Hill asks, what is the estimated construction cost there will be at the construction manager for this project like they used at the courthouse? That was a $40 million building.
How much
Can you
was that?
answer that?
How much was that?
$40 million plus. Now, also, there's a lot of hidden costs that people don't know about that. Let's just go ahead and get into that of other loans taken out. It's way more than that.
All right. So construction costs, you want to lay this out where I can break it down. Construction cost estimated from $12 to $13 million on the construction side. $4 to $5 million on the machinery, the furnishing of the building itself, the materials needed to put into the programs, and then $1 to $2 million is the parking lot renovation. And then when Rob's talked about these programs leaving these schools, we'll have programs coming from Clarkdale to the center. We'll have programs coming from northeast to the center. We'll have programs from southeast coming to the center. That vacates a lab or a workshop that's being currently used. And so in that $1 to $2 million, that will help renovate that space, rehab that space into a usable classroom space for some of the CTE programs that will be left remaining on that campus.
All right, let me ask this, and let me just be blunt on it because I don't know the other way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Politicians in the past, when a law is passed and the wording of a project, they may get up and tell the people, okay, this is what we're going to spend it on.
Sure.
2 to 3 years goes by.
Yeah.
And if the language is written correctly,
Right.
they start diverting funds
Right.
and using it for other things because it's written in there a certain way that they can do it legally.
I agree.
Now, I've heard you say that, no, this is going directly toward this, but it's written
Yeah.
to where it really could be used for other things. What is your word? What do you give the taxpayer here?
Yeah, and the same word I've been giving them. The bond language is taken straight from the bond statute. It could have been left just as is, but we wanted to emphasize CTE so people understood that this bond was for the expansion of career and technical education. The board was very clear when we were going forward with this, this project was for CTE only. They made sure they took out anything that said something about athletic facilities. There was some other stuff in there. I think toward the end with buses. There was a lot of other things written in the language. But knowing that this was a point that people were making and people were, having concerns and, maybe distrust or whatever the case may be,
right.
We want to make it as clear cut as we can, still with the language that how it's written, that this is going towards CTE expansion. And that's going to be, and I tried to reassure people that we're looking at, 12 to 13 on the construction, 4 to 5 on the materials, the machinery, and then 1 to 2 to rehab these classrooms and some exterior parking lot needs there toward the end. That's it. I mean, I don't know how else to say it, but that's it.
Let me give you a scenario on this. Let's say tomorrow morning, because I think we're at 700, 800 million. What if John Mark wakes up tomorrow morning as a winner of the 800 million? You go, whoo, y'all can handle this. I'm going to the house.
Yeah.
And somebody takes over your position, but it's written to where they could do this. What protects the taxpayer if somebody coming in after you and taking this astray from your vision?
Yeah, I think the board ultimately decides, the decisions that are made. I just bring an administrative recommendation and the board ultimately decides. And then even before the board ultimately makes a decision, it's filtered through the board attorney. And then if the board attorney has any questions outside maybe their purview of expertise, they reach out to others. So I think the understanding is this is what this money's for. This is what the public's been told it's going to be used for. And then every dollar, as mentioned yesterday, is optimally or ultimately going to be looked at closely by Mr. Shad White or whoever holds that position, and that's done each and every year from every dollar we spend. So I think there's a lot of levels of checks and balances, and that's the best assurance that I can give you.
Up and coming, we've got more. As Odie is getting prepared, he's sharpening his pencil. He's got another question on sitting his eye.
$925 million now, I believe.
We'll be right back.
Have you been wanting your own building, your own shed? Speak to our friends at Best Sadia Building, 601-728-1954. Now, they can custom build you a home from a barn dominium. Maybe it's a shed that you're needing or a simple place to park your car, a garage, a camp house. Maybe you need a place to park your tractor, your motorcycle, or even that lawnmower. They can custom design whatever it is you need. Quality work, trustworthy, Best Sadia Buildings. Speak with Drew, 601-728-1954. Garrett Outfitters on 8th Street is getting you ready for summertime. A large selection of cool hobo shirts. Maybe it's short sleeves. Maybe you need a pair of shorts. If you're going to be cutting grass or maybe riding a tractor this summer, you're going to need a straw hat to keep cool. And as you head to that favorite fishing hole, don't forget you'll need a pocket knife along with a great rod and reel. And if you earn your living in the woods, don't forget to check out their big selection of snake boots, Carhartt pants and shirts for any occasion. It's Garrett Outfitters, 3505 8th Street, Meridian. Summertime has arrived and Freeman Tractor on Highway 494 has the exact lawnmower for your need. If you've got a big yard with acres and acres to mow, they have a mower for that. No matter the size yard you have, Freeman Tractor has the lawnmower that fits you and your budget. From 48-inch all the way up to 60, or the X-Mark lawnmower. Plenty of these to choose from. Also, they carry a complete line of LS tractors. Come by for a test drive today. Financing available. Drop in today to Freeman Tractor, Highway 494, see coleslaw or buttermilk.
And welcome back. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. As we get near the top of the hour, our crews are getting ready to head out tonight. Somebody said I was soft. Do you think I was soft on John?
No, I tell you, and I know it's tough because we're sitting here right across from him and asking questions, and
You can spit the back on us if he wants to.
we don't. Contrary to popular belief, we don't discuss, hey, when we come back, I'm going to ask you this and I'm going to ask you that. So we kind of surprise him. But no, we ask what y'all have been asking, and a lot of y'all ask the same thing that we've covered on the last time they were here, or it was covered really good inside one of the meetings at the school. And we've only got 45 minutes basically to talk about this. So we wanted to bring and ask the questions that haven't been asked. And then ask everybody to please come out, because there's a lot of questions on here that's been talked about continuous. Right. Y'all come out to West Lauderdale tonight at 6 o'clock. Get there a little early at West Lauderdale Elementary on 495. And see for yourself. Are you going to have the same setup as what was Tuesday night, where people come down to the podium and talk?
Yes, sir. I think
that worked out great.
Right.
And come down. He never turned anybody away. He brought anybody in, allowed them to come down there and ask a question. So come down there and ask a question in person, and get the questions that you want answered.
That's right.
Is there a statement that you haven't made this morning that you feel that you need to say that we haven't asked you? Anything out there that's floating through your head or Rob's head that you feel that the people need to know?
I just think that, there's a lot of, angst or contention about the process, how things were done, how things were decided. And I think anytime you make a big decision that you're going to have people who disagree with how it's done or make assumptions. That's fair. I think we really just want to key in on what we're trying to accomplish too. This project, we feel, is a game changer for students. We do. We think it's an opportunity to provide these career pathways for these young people to find their passion, to be able to go to work, make a living, going to make a good living. And if all you got to do is look around at some of the jobs and the skills that they're going to develop and have these opportunities. And I just think if we don't try to help our young people, we're going to continue to hear and see more about these 5 and 6 night shootings. Opportunities help people make better decisions, and if they can make a living, as we talked about earlier, sometime toward the end of the month when things get a little desperate, you see the crime rate spike. So I think if we can instill skills and professions and careers in our young people, man, let's give them a chance. Let's give them a chance to be something, discover what they really enjoy doing, and I think our whole community can prosper. I really do. If we can increase our workforce, and have more taxpayers paying into the system here. We need new taxpayers, not more tax burdens as we move forward.
Let me ask this. You brought this up the other night, and I had a few people ask about this. Opening still up for the plumber. Y'all still need plumbers?
We do. You got one for us?
I don't have anybody, but if you're watching and need a job, you've got an opening.
We've got an opening. It's listed. Yes, sir. And we have turnover. I mean, like in every industry, people either get mad at their boss or they want times changed, or, maybe they're trying to get away from their wife. I don't know. Things happen.
They do.
And so there's turnover that happens and opportunities, and we're like everybody else. And obviously there's always a bigger, badder bear out there that can make it worth their while, in the private sector that can, obviously we're in the public sector and we're limited to what, how we can finance or pay people or whatnot. But if we have good people that can come into our schools and care, because we got some really hard-working people, especially in our operational team, and trying to keep up these buildings every day. I mean, the list never stops. It just keeps coming. But we have to operate, and so absolutely.
Now, I want to remind everybody, if you're watching this, you go, well, Scotty Ray, Odie, you didn't ask the question that I wanted. I posted it. Maybe we missed it. The way to cure that is, please come out tonight. This is going to be at West Lauderdale Elementary, and they will not leave. They will stand there and ask every question. And the only way to get your question answered is to come out. If you've got one at this very point and your heart and soul want to know this before you cast your vote, be there tonight. Doors will open 5:30.
Probably like 5:30.
5:30. The meeting begins at 6 at the gymnasium of West Lauderdale Elementary. That's Highway 495 right outside of Meridian. Please come up and be a part of this. It's important.
Now, something that I always go with is early is on time's late, and late's unacceptable. Well, let me go ahead and tell you this. This meeting starts at 6 o'clock. And the last 3 that Dr. Cain has had, he starts at 6 o'clock. So if you don't want to miss anything, be there by 6 o'clock.
That's right.
When
And
it's time to start, it's time to start.
That's our business. And as well, you know, when it's 6 o'clock, at 6 o'clock in 1 second, that's when you start. I want to close on this note because this is very important. I want y'all to see this. I stopped yesterday and grabbed a picture, a Bible reading going on right now. This is important for our community.
It really is. And we need God to come down and save us, because that's the only thing that's going to save us is if we save ourselves, and the way to do that is through the word of Jesus Christ. And College Park United Methodist Church, right there on Highway 19 across from MSU, they open the Bible up, Genesis 1, yesterday morning at 9 o'clock, and they will read until they are completely through with the end of Revelations, sometime Saturday evening. 24 hours, someone is reading the Word of God. And go by there and get a prayer and listen to the Word and be part of it, and bring God back in your life if He's not already there. And look, let's get in this together and save our county.
We want to say thank you to both of y'all for coming in this morning and taking questions again. Tonight, 6 p.m. West Lauderdale Elementary. Be there for the rest of your questions. Anything, we'll carry it live. If for whatever reason that you cannot leave your home, we'll be carrying it live so you can watch it here at Facebook, YouTube, and all the above.
Yeah, we couldn't do this without you. We enjoyed you being with us. And then for everybody out there watching, thank y'all, because we couldn't do this without each and every one of y'all. Tomorrow's Friday. We'll be here bright and early. But again, thank you. We love you. Have a wonderful day.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners.